What rule did your teacher break? Mr. Davis was the kind of teacher everyone liked. He taught sophomore English, cracked dad jokes during lectures, and actually seemed to care when you told him you were struggling, which is why it was so weird when he started breaking rules. Small ones at first, things you'd notice but wouldn't necessarily report. It started in October when I stayed after school to finish a makeup test in his classroom. I was the last student in the building, except for a few kids at basketball practice. While I worked on my essay, Mr. Davis kept checking his phone and looking at the door like he was waiting for someone. Around 4:30, there was a quiet knock. A freshman I didn't recognize slipped into the room without saying anything. Mr. Davis told me to keep working and walked the kid to the back corner of the classroom where they had a whispered conversation I couldn't hear. The freshman looked scared, like really scared. His hands were shaking and he kept wiping his eyes. After maybe 10 minutes, Mr. Davis walked him out through the back door that led to the parking lot instead of the main hallway. That back door was supposed to stay locked during school hours. Teachers weren't allowed to let students use it. I didn't think much about it until 2 weeks later when I saw Mr. Davis doing the same thing with a different student, a junior girl this time. Same pattern. Quiet knock, whispered conversation in the corner. Exit through the back door. I mentioned it to my friend Becca during lunch, and she said she'd seen Mr. Davis meeting students in his car in the parking lot before school started, just sitting there, talking to them with the doors closed. That was definitely against district policy. Teachers weren't supposed to be alone with students in vehicles. Over the next month, I started paying more attention. Mr. Davis was breaking rules constantly, but in ways that seemed almost intentional, like he wanted to avoid being noticed, but didn't care enough to actually hide what he was doing. He'd keep students after class without signing them out or giving them hall passes. He'd let kids use his personal phone during school hours, which was prohibited. I once saw him hand a student what looked like cash in the hallway between periods. The weirdest thing was how the students he met with would change afterward. Not in bad ways, in good ways. The scared freshman I'd seen that first day started smiling more, participating in class, looking less jumpy. The junior girl stopped wearing long sleeves even though it was November and freezing outside. But none of it made sense. Why would breaking rules help students? What were they talking about in those whispered conversations? And why was everything happening secretly? I tried asking one of the students directly, a sophomore named Marcus, who I'd seen leaving Mr. Davis's room through the back door 3 times. Marcus got this panicked look on his face and said, I shouldn't ask questions about stuff that wasn't my business. That Mr. Davis was helping him with something private and I needed to let it go. That response made everything worse, because now I was thinking maybe Mr. Davis was doing something illegal. Maybe he was manipulating vulnerable students somehow, using their trust to get them to do things they shouldn't be doing. I considered reporting him. But reporting what exactly? That he was having quiet conversations with students? That he was nice to kids who seemed troubled? Nothing I'd witnessed was definitively wrong, just suspicious. Then last week I stayed late to work on the school newspaper and I heard Mr. Davis on the phone in his empty classroom. His door was cracked open and his voice carried into the hallway. He was talking to someone about getting documentation and safe houses and making sure families didn't find out until everything was ready. My blood went cold. Safe houses? Keeping things from families? I pulled out my phone and started recording his conversation through the crack in the door. He was saying things like, we need to move her this weekend and his father can't know where he is. And that's when I realized what Mr. Davis was really doing. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. I press record on my phone and hold my breath, trying to catch every word through the crack in the door. Mr. Davis's voice sounds tense, urgent in a way I've never heard during class discussions about Shakespeare or essay structures. We need to move her tonight, not this weekend, he says, pacing behind his desk. Her stepfather came home drunk again, and this time he broke her wrist. She's hiding at her friend's house, but he's already called there twice looking for her. My heart pounds against my ribs. This isn't what I expected at all. Eliza can't go back there, not even for her clothes. Mr. Davis continues. I'll pick her up at 8 and take her to the west side location. Can you make sure Rachel knows she's coming? She'll need the medical kit too. I shift slightly to get a better angle with my phone, and the floor creaks beneath my weight. Mr. Davis goes silent mid-sentence. Someone there? He calls out, and I hear his footsteps moving toward the door. I panic, shoving my phone into my pocket and backing away quickly. There's nowhere to hide in the empty hallway except the janitor's closet a few feet away. I slip inside just as Mr. Davis's door swings fully open, leaving it cracked just enough that I can see him scan the hallway, his expression guarded and suspicious. He pulls out his own phone and makes another call. I think someone might have overheard us. I need to make this quick. Marcus needs to be moved again. His father's been asking questions at his old school. Marcus, the same sophomore I'd tried to talk to, the one who told me to mind my own business, the one who used to come to school with bruises he claimed were from falling off his bike, until suddenly, one day, the bruises stopped appearing altogether. My mind races, connecting dots I should have seen before. The scared freshman with shaking hands. The junior girl who suddenly stopped wearing long sleeves in November, not because she was trying to make a fashion statement, but because she no longer needed to hide marks on her arms. Mr. Davis lowers his voice, but I can still hear him through the crack. Tell Samuel we need those documents by tomorrow. Birth certificate, social security card, anything with the kid's name on it. We can't let these kids disappear into the system, or their families will find them. A cold realization washes over me. Mr. Davis isn't doing anything sinister. He's helping students escape abusive homes. The backdoor exits, the secret meetings, the cash exchanges. It's all part of some underground network to protect kids who are being hurt. I hear footsteps approaching from the other end of the hall. Heavy, measured steps that could only belong to a security guard or administrator. Mr. Davis hears them too, and quickly ends his call, slipping back into his classroom and closing the door most of the way. From my hiding spot, I see Principal Matthews walk past, keys jingling at his side. He pauses outside Mr. Davis's door, seems to consider knocking, then continues down the hall. I wait until his footsteps fade before I dare to breathe normally again. When I finally step out of the closet. Mr. Davis is locking his classroom door, a worn messenger bag slung over his shoulder. He turns and freezes when he sees me standing there. How long have you been in the hallway? He asks, his voice carefully controlled. I should lie. I should tell him I just got here. But something about the exhaustion in his eyes, the worry lines etched around his mouth that make him look 10 years older than he is, stops me. Long enough, I admit. I heard about Eliza and Marcus. His face goes completely blank, a teacher mask I recognize from when students ask inappropriate questions in class. I don't know what you think you heard. You're helping them get away from people who are hurting them, I say quietly. That's why you break the rules. That's why you use the back door and meet students in your car. You're getting them somewhere safe. Mr. Davis stares at me for a long moment, calculating something behind his eyes. You should go home, he finally says. It's late and the newspaper meeting ended an hour ago. The freshman from October. I press on. The one whose hands were shaking. Was someone hurting him too? He adjusts the strap of his messenger bag, avoiding my eyes. You're a good student, observant, but some things are better left alone. But you're helping them, right? Not, I can't even finish the sentence. His expression softens slightly. Yes, I'm helping them. That's all you need to know. Is it legal? I ask. What you're doing? A shadow passes over his face. Sometimes what's legal isn't what's right. Sometimes the system that's supposed to protect people fails them instead. He checks his watch. I need to go, and so do you. He starts walking toward the exit, then pauses and turns back to me. Whatever you think you know, whatever you recorded on your phone just now, I'd ask you to keep it to yourself. Not for my sake, but for theirs. I nod slowly, my mind still processing everything. I won't tell anyone. As he pushes the door open, I call after him. Mr. Davis? How many? He stops, but doesn't turn around. How many what? How many students have you helped? His shoulders slump slightly under the weight of my question. Too many, he says quietly, and not enough. Then he's gone, the door clicking shut behind him, leaving me alone in the empty hallway with a phone full of evidence and a head full of questions. I wait until after school the next day to find Marcus. I've spent 24 hours replaying Mr. Davis's phone call in my head, wondering how many other students he's helped, how many lives he's saved without anyone knowing. I spot Marcus by his locker, shoving books into his backpack with more force than necessary. Hey, I say, trying to sound casual. Can we talk for a minute? He glances up, his expression immediately guarded. About what? I look around the hallway, which is still crowded with students heading to after-school activities. Not here, somewhere private. I'm busy, he says, zipping his backpack closed. It's about Mr. Davis, I say quietly. And the back door? And why you suddenly stopped having bruises last semester? Marcus freezes, his knuckles turning white around the strap of his backpack. For a second, I think he might bolt, but instead he says, library, back corner by the reference books, 5 minutes. I nod and walk away, giving him space. When I get to the library, I choose the most isolated table, hidden behind tall shelves where no one will overhear us. Marcus arrives exactly 5 minutes later, sliding into the chair across from me. What do you want? His voice is low, defensive. I heard Mr. Davis on the phone yesterday, I admit, talking about moving students to safe houses. He mentioned your name. Marcus's jaw tightens. So what? You gonna report him? Get some kind of story for the school paper? No, I say quickly. I want to understand. I want to help. He studies my face, looking for any sign of deception. Why? Because he's breaking rules to save people. That matters more than school policies. Marcus is silent for so long, I think he might just get up and leave. Finally, he sighs, shoulders slumping slightly. My dad used to beat the shit out of me, he says bluntly. Started when I was 10, got worse every year. Broken ribs, dislocated shoulder once. Mom left when I was 12, couldn't take it anymore, I guess. My stomach twists at how matter-of-factly he describes the abuse. I got good at hiding it, he continues. Wore long sleeves, made up stories about skateboard accidents. Nobody noticed except Mr. Davis. He started asking questions last year, offered to help with extra credit after school. That's when he helped you get away? Marcus nods. He has this whole network. Teachers, social workers, people who used to be in foster care themselves. They have apartments, houses where kids can stay until they're safe, legal guardianship papers that look real enough to enroll in new schools. Is that where you're living now? One of these safe houses? I'm with my aunt in West Side. Dad doesn't know she's back in town. Mr. Davis helped me get there, made sure she got temporary guardianship. I'm one of the lucky ones who had somewhere to go. I lean forward. How many others has he helped? At least 15 from our school in the past 2 years. Maybe more before that. Kids whose parents beat them, starve them, worse. He looks down at his hands. The system doesn't work for most of us. CPS investigates, then leaves us right back where we started, or puts us in foster homes that can be just as bad. So Mr. Davis created his own system, I say, understanding dawning. Yeah, and now Principal Matthews is trying to shut it down. He's been watching Mr. Davis for weeks, asking questions about why he stays late, why certain students suddenly transfer or stop showing up. My blood runs cold. Matthews knows, he suspects something, doesn't know what exactly, but he's building a case. Policy violations, inappropriate relationships with students, that kind of bullshit. The memory of Matthews pausing outside Mr. Davis's door yesterday takes on new meaning. What happens to the students if Mr. Davis gets fired? Marcus's expression darkens. Some go back to homes where they might not survive. Others disappear into the system, bounced between foster placements until they age out. Either way, they lose the only adult who ever actually protected them. I think about Eliza with her broken wrist, the freshman with shaking hands, and all the others I don't even know about. There has to be something we can do. Like what? Tell everyone the truth? Mr. Davis would lose his teaching license. The whole network would collapse. Then we don't tell everyone, I say, an idea forming. We just make sure Matthews doesn't find proof of anything. Marcus looks skeptical. How? I don't know yet, but I have the newspaper as cover to be anywhere in the school, access to records for stories. I could warn Mr. Davis when Matthews is looking for him, create distractions if needed. Why would you risk getting in trouble for this? You don't even know these kids. It's a fair question. 24 hours ago, I was just trying to figure out why my English teacher was breaking minor school policies. Now I'm considering actively helping him hide an underground network from the principal. Because it's right, I say simply, and because someone should have helped you a lot sooner than they did. Marcus studies me for a long moment, then reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folded piece of paper. This is Mr. Davis's burner number. Text only, no calls. If you're serious about helping, let him know. But if you're playing some kind of game, I'm not. I interrupt. I swear. He slides the paper across the table. There's a meeting tomorrow night at the old community center on Elm, 8 o'clock. Come if you want to understand what's really happening. As he stands to leave, I ask, does Becca know about the car meetings? He shakes his head. She just noticed them happening. Mr. Davis is careful about who knows what, compartmentalizes everything, so if one person gets caught, the whole thing doesn't fall apart. After Marcus leaves, I sit alone at the table, staring at the phone number. I'm 16 years old, with a 3.8 gigapascals and college applications to worry about. Getting involved in this could derail my entire future if we get caught. But I keep thinking about what Mr. Davis said yesterday. Sometimes what's legal isn't what's right. I pull out my phone and save the number, then type a message. It's me from the hallway yesterday. I talked to Marcus. I want to help. Tell me what you need. I hit send before I can change my mind, committing myself to whatever comes next. I arrive at the old community center on Elm Street 15 minutes early. The building has been abandoned for years. Broken windows covered with plywood, graffiti snaking up the brick walls, weeds pushing through cracks in the concrete steps. Not exactly the kind of place you'd expect to find teachers and social workers meeting to save kids. I check my phone one more time. Mr. Davis had responded to my text with a single message. Back entrance. Knock 3 times. Come alone. The back of the building faces an empty lot overgrown with tall grass. I follow a narrow path worn through the weeds to a metal door with peeling green paint. After glancing around to make sure no one is watching, I knock 3 times. The door opens just enough for someone to peer out at me. It's a woman I don't recognize, maybe mid-30s, with dark hair pulled into a tight bun and tired eyes that study me suspiciously. Who sent you? She asks. Mr. Davis. I'm from his sophomore English class. She hesitates, then opens the door wider. You're early. The interior is surprisingly clean compared to the outside. The hallway has been swept, and battery-powered lanterns create pools of warm light along the floor. She leads me through a maze of corridors to what must have been a gymnasium. About a dozen folding chairs are arranged in a circle, with a few people already seated. Mr. Davis stands near a makeshift table of plywood balanced on milk crates, sorting through papers. When he sees me, he stops what he's doing and walks over. You actually came, he says, sounding both surprised and concerned. I said I wanted to help. He studies my face for a moment. This isn't a game. These people are risking their careers, possibly even legal consequences. I know, I say. Marcus explained some of it. He sighs, running a hand through his hair. Sit in the back, just listen for now. Over the next 15 minutes, more people arrive, mostly in pairs, never through the same door. I recognize a few faces. Miss Harmon from the guidance office, Coach Wilson from the track team, even Mrs. Bennett who works in the cafeteria. Others are strangers to me, but they all greet each other with the familiarity of people who've been in the trenches together. When the clock hits 8, Mr. Davis moves to the center of the circle. Thanks for coming on short notice, he begins. We have several situations that need immediate attention. A woman I don't recognize raises her hand. The West Side location is at capacity. If we're moving Eliza there, someone else needs to be relocated. I can take one, says Coach Wilson. My sister's place has an extra room and she's willing to help. Background check? Someone asks. Completed yesterday. She's clean. They discuss logistics with practiced efficiency, safe houses, transportation routes, medical needs. It's like watching a military operation, except instead of soldiers, it's teachers and social workers fighting to save kids from their own homes. What about Marcus? Asks Miss Harmon. His father showed up at his old school again yesterday, asked a lot of questions. His aunt's place is still secure, Mr. Davis says, but we should consider moving him further out of district if his father keeps searching. I sit quietly in the back, trying to process the scope of what I'm witnessing. This isn't just about helping a few students. It's an entire underground railroad for abused kids, operating right under everyone's noses. Suddenly, a young man bursts through the side door, breathless and panicked. Matthews is here, he gasps. In the parking lot, someone must have tipped him off. The room erupts into controlled chaos. People quickly gather papers, shove them into bags, and extinguish lanterns. Mr. Davis remains calm, directing everyone toward different exits. 3 minutes to clear the room, he says firmly. Use your designated routes. Through the panic, I catch snippets of worried conversation. If he finds us all here. The documents. What about the kids we're moving tonight? I peer through a crack in the plywood covering a window and see Principal Matthews getting out of his car, flashlight in hand. He's moving toward the main entrance with purposeful strides. Without thinking, I grab my backpack and rush toward Mr. Davis. I can distract him. Buy you some time. Absolutely not, he says. You need to leave with everyone else. There's no time. He'll see everyone leaving and know something's up. I pull out my phone. I'll tell him I'm here for a story for the school paper, about abandoned buildings in the community or something. Mr. Davis hesitates, clearly torn between protecting me and protecting the operation. Trust me, I say. I can handle Matthews. After a moment, he nods. Be careful. Don't let him come inside. I slip out the side door and circle around to intercept Matthews before he reaches the entrance. I intentionally make noise, scuffing my shoes on the gravel to get his attention. Principal Matthews? I call out, trying to sound surprised. What are you doing here? He swings his flashlight toward me, momentarily blinding me. I should be asking you that question. This building is condemned. I hold up my phone like it's a shield. Research for the school paper. I'm doing a feature on abandoned places in town and their history. The community center seemed perfect. It used to be such a hub for the neighborhood. His eyes narrow with suspicion. At 8 o'clock at night, alone, the lighting is better for photos. I improvise, taking a quick snapshot of the building's exterior. Creepier, you know? Readers love that stuff. He studies me for a long moment, and I can almost see the wheels turning behind his eyes. Did you come alone? Of course, I say, injecting just the right amount of confusion into my voice. Who would come with me? I received a call, he says slowly, about suspicious activity here tonight. Multiple cars in the area. I force a laugh. Probably just people cutting through to avoid the construction on Main Street. I walked here from home. Behind Matthews, I can see shadows moving silently through the darkness. The last of the group escaping through the back while we talk. I need to keep him distracted just a little longer. Actually, since you're here, I say, stepping closer and lowering my voice conspiratorially, maybe you could give me a quote about the center's history. For my article, it would add some real authority to have the principal's perspective. This appeal to his ego works exactly as I'd hoped. His posture relaxes slightly as he launches into a speech about the center's glory days and its unfortunate decline. I nod enthusiastically, asking follow-up questions whenever he pauses, all while watching the last few people disappear into the night. After about 10 minutes, Matthews seems to remember why he came. I should check inside, he says, turning toward the entrance. Oh, I already tried. I lie quickly. All the doors are chained shut. City ordinance or something. I've just been taking exterior photos. He frowns, clearly wanting to investigate further, but having no legitimate reason to break into a condemned building based on an anonymous tip. You shouldn't be out alone this late, he finally says. I'll drive you home. It's not a request. I send a silent prayer that everyone has cleared out as I follow him to his car. The ride to my house is tense and mostly silent. As we pull up to my driveway, Matthews turns to me with an expression I can't quite read. You're a good student, he says. Smart. Promising future. Be careful about the company you keep. I'm not sure what you mean, I say, hand already on the door handle. Mr. Davis has been making some questionable choices lately. Choices that could impact anyone associated with him. His voice is soft but unmistakably threatening. Just something to consider. I thank him for the ride and hurry inside, my heart pounding. As soon as I'm in my room, I text Mr. Davis. Matthew's gone. Everyone get out okay? His response comes a few minutes later. All clear. Thank you. We need to talk tomorrow. The next day, Mr. Davis asks me to stay after class. When the room empties, he closes the door and speaks in a low voice. What you did last night was brave and incredibly risky. It worked though, I point out. This time, he sits on the edge of his desk, suddenly looking exhausted. Matthews isn't stupid. He's been trying to catch me for months. Why? If he knew what you were doing, he knows exactly what I'm doing, Mr. Davis interrupts. He just doesn't care. That can't be true. No one could know and still try to stop you. Mr. Davis laughs bitterly. Matthews has rejected or buried every abuse report I filed through proper channels for the past 3 years. 17 cases, all with clear evidence. His priority is the school's reputation, not student safety. I think about Matthews's warning in the car. He threatened me last night. Not directly, but it was clear. That's how he operates. Subtle pressure, implied threats. Mr. Davis rubs his temples. We're moving the meeting location permanently. It's not safe anymore. What can I do to help? He studies me for a long moment. Keep your eyes open. Be our early warning system for Matthews. But most importantly, protect yourself. If he suspects you're involved, he'll come after you too. As I turn to leave, I ask the question that's been bothering me since last night. The network, all those safe houses and documents, is any of it actually legal? Mr. Davis's expression grows serious. Parts of it operate in gray areas. Emergency guardianship papers, temporary housing. We try to work within the system when possible. He pauses. But when the system fails these kids, we do what's necessary to keep them alive. I nod, understanding the weight of what he's saying. I'm still in. Then be at this address tomorrow at 7, he says, handing me a slip of paper. And make sure no one follows you. The news spreads through school like wildfire by second period. Mr. Davis has been suspended pending an investigation into inappropriate relationships with students. I overhear a group of juniors in the hallway saying he was escorted out by security this morning, not even allowed to collect his personal items from his classroom. My stomach drops. Matthews has finally made his move. I text Marcus immediately. Davis suspended. Matthews knows something. His reply comes seconds later. Meeting after school, the spot behind the library, 3:30. The day crawls by in a fog of anxiety. In English class, a nervous substitute teacher hands out busy work while Mr. Davis's personal items sit untouched on his desk. A coffee mug with a Shakespeare quote, a stack of half-graded essays, a family photo turned face down. The room feels hollow without his presence. When the final bell rings, I race to the meeting spot, a secluded area behind the library where smokers used to hang out before the school installed cameras in most outdoor areas. Marcus is already there, along with Becca and 3 other students I recognize from Mr. Davis's network. This is bad, Marcus says without preamble. Matthews is claiming he has evidence of Davis meeting students off campus, exchanging money, and conducting inappropriate communications with minors. That's complete bullshit, says a junior girl I recognize from the community center meeting. He saved my life. Matthews doesn't care, Becca replies. He's twisting everything to make it look sinister. I lean against the brick wall, thinking, we need testimonies from everyone Mr. Davis has helped. If enough students come forward. And say what? Marcus interrupts. That he helped us escape our abusive parents? That he created fake documents and hid us in safe houses? Half of what he's done exists in legal gray areas. Not testimonies about the network, I clarify. Testimonies about Matthews. About how he buried abuse reports and protected the school's reputation instead of students. The group falls silent, considering this. I can get 5 people, the junior girl finally says. All of us filed reports with Matthews that went nowhere. I know 3 more, adds another student. Marcus nods slowly. That might work, but we'd need proof that Matthews actually received those reports. Otherwise, it's just our word against his. The guidance office keeps copies, Becca says. My cousin works as an aide there during 4th period. She could help us. I pull out my phone and start making notes. We need to move fast. The school board meets this Friday to review Matthews' evidence against Mr. Davis. If we can present our case before they make a decision, they'll never let students speak at a closed disciplinary hearing, Marcus points out. Then we go above them, I say. The superintendent, local news, social media, whatever it takes. We spend the next hour dividing responsibilities. Becca will work with her cousin to get copies of the buried reports. Marcus will coordinate testimonies from students. Mr. Davis helped. I'll compile everything into a presentation and figure out how to get get it in front of the right people. As we're wrapping up, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Miss Harmon, Davis's classroom. Now, I show the others and head back toward the school building. Miss Harmon, the guidance counselor from the community center meeting, is waiting in Mr. Davis's empty classroom when I arrive. Matthews is searching Davis's home tonight, she says without preamble. He has a warrant based on credible evidence of inappropriate conduct with minors. My blood runs cold. What kind of evidence? Text messages, phone records, witness statements about students entering and leaving his car. She looks exhausted. He's building a case that Davis was grooming vulnerable students. That's insane. He was saving them. I know that. You know that. But Matthews has spent months carefully constructing a narrative that makes everything look sinister. She pulls a USB drive from her pocket and hands it to me. This contains every abuse report filed with Matthews over the past 3 years. Reports he claimed never existed or were insufficiently documented to warrant action. I stare at the small device. How did you get this? I've been making backup copies for years. I knew someday we'd need them. She glances toward the door nervously. The network is going dark for now. All safe houses are being relocated. No communication for at least 72 hours. What about the kids who still need help? Emergency protocols are in place. She places a hand on my shoulder. Be careful. Matthews will come after anyone connected to Davis. That includes you. After Miss Harmon leaves, I plug the USB drive into my laptop. It contains dozens of files, detailed reports of suspected abuse, photographic evidence of injuries, statements from teachers and school nurses. Each file includes Matthews' signature acknowledging receipt, followed by his decision to take no further action pending additional evidence. The pattern is unmistakable. Severe cases dismissed with bureaucratic language. Children sent back to dangerous homes because investigating further might generate negative publicity for the school. For the next 2 days, our makeshift team works around the clock. We gather testimonies from 15 students. Mr. Davis helped escape abusive situations. We collect medical records documenting injuries that occurred after Matthews dismissed their initial reports. We even find emails where Matthews explicitly instructed staff to handle abuse allegations internally to avoid unnecessary attention from district officials. By Thursday night, we have a comprehensive dossier proving not only that Matthews systematically buried abuse reports, but that he did so to protect the school's reputation and his own career. The school board meeting is scheduled for Friday at 4 p.m. We arrive at 3:30, a group of 17 students carrying folders of evidence and prepared statements. When the secretary tells us the meeting is closed to students, I hand her a sealed envelope. This contains evidence of Principal Matthews violating mandatory reporting laws and endangering students. If the board refuses to see us, copies will be delivered to the superintendent, school board president, and 3 local news stations within the hour. 20 minutes later, we're ushered into the boardroom. Matthews is already there, sitting confidently beside the district's attorney. His expression shifts from annoyance to alarm when he sees how many students have come. What is the meaning of this? Demands the board chair, a stern woman with silver-rimmed glasses. I step forward. We're here because Principal Matthews has suspended Mr. Davis under false pretenses, and we have evidence proving it. For the next hour, we present our case methodically. Students share their stories of abuse reported and ignored. We display the documentation Miss Harmon provided, showing Matthews' signature on reports he later claimed never existed. We explain how Mr. Davis created his underground network only after exhausting every legitimate channel for helping these students. Matthews attempts to interrupt several times, but each time we counter with another document bearing his signature, another testimony from a student he failed to protect. Mr. Davis broke school policy. Matthews finally sputters. He met with students off campus, transported them in his personal vehicle. Because you forced him to, Marcus shouts, standing up. He tried to help us through the system, and you blocked him at every turn. The board chair raises her hand for silence. These are extremely serious allegations against both Principal Matthews and Mr. Davis. We'll need time to review all this evidence properly. While you review, I say Mr. Davis remains suspended and students remain in danger. We're asking that you reinstate him immediately while investigating Matthews' actions. The board deliberates in private for 30 minutes. When they return, the chair announces that Mr. Davis will be temporarily reinstated pending a full investigation, and that Matthews will be placed on administrative leave. As we file out of the boardroom, Matthews corners me in the hallway, his face contorted with rage. You have no idea what you've done, he hisses. That network is illegal. Once the full investigation starts, Davis will lose his teaching license, possibly face criminal charges. I look him directly in the eyes. Maybe, but so will you. The difference is, he was trying to save lives. What's your excuse? 2 weeks later, the district completes its investigation. Matthews is fired for violating mandatory reporting laws and obstructing investigations into student welfare. Mr. Davis receives a formal reprimand for violating school policies, but is fully reinstated with the board's understanding of the extenuating circumstances that led to his actions. Most importantly, the district establishes a formal student protection program with clear protocols for handling abuse reports and emergency housing options for students in danger. It's everything Mr. Davis had been fighting for, now with official backing and proper resources. On his first day back, Mr. Davis finds me after class. You risked everything, he says quietly. Your academic record, your reputation. I shrug. You did the same for those kids. Seemed like the right thing to do. He smiles, the exhaustion in his eyes finally beginning to fade. The network is being dismantled. No more backdoors or secret meetings. Because it's not needed anymore? Because it's not secret anymore. He gestures toward the hallway where a new poster hangs announcing the district's student safety initiative with a 24-hour hotline number. Sometimes bringing things into the light is better than operating in shadows. As I walk to my next class, I pass Marcus in the hallway. He nods slightly, a silent acknowledgement of what we accomplished together. No more secrets, no more looking over our shoulders, just a system that finally works the way it should have all along. Sometimes the rules exist for a reason, but sometimes they need to be broken before they can be fixed.